Wasn't that due yesterday?
Yeah, go to display setting. This one, because there's a three devices.
So the team name's Colin. First I want to introduce who our team members are and who I am. So my name's Natalie. I was project manager. Introduce yourself.
Matt, I did program.
Naomi, I'm art.
Jerry, I did program. Sean, I did sound.
So we decided to use a game that we had actually made last semester that was a platformer and decided to turn it into a, I guess, a clinic adventure in a way with text. So because of the deadline, we knew that we should probably do stuff that we already had assets for and that we already explored pretty well, which is why we're able to accomplish this in a short amount of time. I mean, that's about it. Certain struggles we had with the game, I mean, most of the stuff was pretty laid out. We knew what we wanted to get done. The deadlines that we set out were met, and the bonus stuff that we were able to do was accomplished. There were a couple things that weren't, but they weren't crucial to the main game. And then Diamond's gonna play it to show you kind of what we did.
So our game starts with a cutscene that tells you the background and lore about Snowfox, who is the guardian of the magical forest Barthon, and she protects the 5 holy birds. She has ensured the safety of this forest for thousands of years, but there's danger on the horizon. And that is our steamroller Nesvera, who goes and destroys the entire forest while he tries to escape, while getting the holy birds as she escapes. So once Yuki enters the forest, you're given dialogue about what's happening, and then you get your choices. So now she has to escape the forest while she's concerned about the safety of the birds. We have this timeline down here that shows you how close the steamroller is, and depending on what choices you make, the steamroller can either get closer or farther away from Yuki. So if you decide to jump over the pond, it won't get any closer to you, because that was one of the right choices. But if you decide to help this bird that you see in the trees, you'll notice the steamroller gets closer to you. So Yuki starts out 3 units ahead of the steamroller, so you have 3 mistakes that you can make. And if you make more than those, you die, and the game restarts. So we have 3 different endings as well. One ending is if you get no birds. One ending is if you get some birds, and there's a secret ending if you get all 5 birds. And I'm gonna get all 5 birds. So when you get all 5 birds, you see them all down here, and the tree of life at the end is displayed in your text, and it stops the steamroller. And since you have all 5 birds, the tree of life is fully restored, and it is able to stop the steamroller entirely.
There's a lot of lore elements that we had to go through to figure this out. Not only on top of being in charge of art, also worked on our writing portion of this as well, and was able to make a pretty cohesive storyline with it, in the short time of this. You guys want to talk about some of the coloring stuff?
We instead of using GUI layout, we kind of Unity's UI system. So we took their buttons and event system, and it was, I guess, a little challenge getting the timeline and that stuff to work together well. That was probably like our biggest challenge for that part.
We really just have everything saved as prefabs. It was easy because we could just have the one base one and then just edit it slightly for each specific stage.
Originally, they were thinking of doing, separate backgrounds for the background choices we were making, but due to the time crunch, we didn't think we had enough time to make every single art asset needed for that. So we decided just to use the plain background, keep it clean instead of trying to make something that wasn't as high quality as some of our other art pieces.
And any comments, suggestions, response to the game? Yes, Mira?
I really like this. I know the background of the original game, so I'm really impressed with how this turned out overall. I think you delivered on the concept pretty well both times. And I would say the only thing that I really changed about this is I would try to find a way to split up the text. Like if you had a few different screens where it's explaining what's going on and then a screen with the choices on it, I think that would cut down the text on the screen a little bit and make it a little bit easier to follow. It feels a little bit overwhelming. There's like one page with 2 long paragraphs, and it's like, whoa. But yeah, very good. And I think unlike most games, the buttons actually go kind of well with the art style you're going with. Like, as opposed to most games, it's still using buttons.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, the buttons are missing.
Oh, they are?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I don't like
no, you're good.
It does look like a very basic display, but
Yeah, but it was based on, we did the buttons based on our original game, which we done a very similar thing, just simply added the movement, so it was very very similar art styles.
Sorry,
No, you're good.
Trevor?
Yeah, I was just, are all the assets like original?
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
the art assets?
Yes.
Okay. I'm assuming though some of them are just recycled.
The only things that are recycled are the animations. So everything that is animated is recycled, everything else is done from scratch.
Okay. So most of the backgrounds and all
Yes,
that.
that was one of the shows.
we still had references from our previous game, like the steamroll and the box and the trees, I guess, the color scale.
We still had, it was a lot easier to come up with like how backgrounds would look and stuff like that because we already knew what they looked like.
Yeah.
So it just was able to be quicker instead of trying to reuse assets or reuse older assets we had, it was just better just to redraw.
Anyone else? This was really nicely done, and I'll talk to you later because we don't have that much time. But yeah, this is really good, and you demonstrated a nice kind of another like heads-up display at the bottom, so that looks really nice. And then we're going to actually today we're going to talk a little bit about UI stuff, but that's great that you guys figured it out. And I guess in reality, like that happens a lot. Like, you kind of know, but you're not sure, so you actually have to do research a little bit to make it happen. And you did awesome job in crunch time, so it's really nicely done. Great, thank you. And last but not least, strategy of expansion
Hi, everyone. This is our game about depression and going through your life with depression. I am Rose. I was project leader as well as programmer.
I'm Connor. I was one of the people who worked on the art assets for the game.
I enjoyed just most of the writing for this.
I'm Jackson. I also worked on the background image.
So basically what our game is, you know, with the struggle of life depression, you know, sometimes you wake up and you're just like, I don't want to do it today. Or you wake up and just like, I know I have to get through the day today, but you only have so much energy to go through the day. And so we use something called like the spoon theory.
Yeah, I mean, spoon theory is usually used for chronic illness and depression. It's represented like, it's sort of an energy level, it's just sort of represented by spoons. I don't know the exact genesis of it, but that's what it is. It's usually around 12 for everything that I've seen, so we use 12 for ours. And then each action you take uses up a certain amount, and then whenever you're out, that's just like all your energy for the day.
So like here you have like two options. Because you're just like you only have time in the day to do, or time you're going to do one thing. So it's either you can take a shower, or you can have some breakfast. So you decide you'd rather eat, but your hygiene will not be great today. So each thing you do will kind of have like a negative that you didn't do the other thing. And it just kind of happens when we go through life.
Spans 7 days.
We're going through one day. So you make it to class right on time, paying attention can be difficult. So what do? So if you focus your attention in class, and you know you really try to focus, it's going to take a lot of spoons because not paying attention, browsing your cell phone is a little less stressful, and you kind of just relax. So, and as you can see at the top left, you see your counter of spoons going down, depending on what options you choose. So you're able to retain most of the information, but you drain your energy quite a bit. And so now you have lunchtime. So you can have a big meal, or you can have something small. And the reason that something small I put as 2 spoons is because sometimes if you're depressed, you can't really feel like you eat a lot. But if you don't keep up your energy with stuff, with like food and stuff like that, then you're still going to keep draining that energy. As with a big meal, you can get that energy back, but you also might make yourself feel sick. So you can only eat so much. You come home after a long day, your room is a mess, but you have homework to do. So what do? Do you want to do your homework, or do you want to clean your room? So you do your homework, but the dirty environment makes it difficult to stay focused. It's almost time for bed, so what do? So lay in bed along with your thoughts, can make you, overthink things, can, make you stressed or more depressed because you're alone with yourself and you start to come up with these scenarios and stuff like that. As you, hang out online and decompress, that doesn't take any spoons because you're distracting yourself. And sometimes the distraction isn't always the best, but, it happens. So if you want to hang out online. So you hang out online fun, but you might sleep it again because you stayed up too late. And so, with all of that, you ended up with 3 spoons at the end of the day, so you didn't waste all of your energy, you didn't, you were able to get through the day, with some energy left. But sometimes, you take those big steps and you take those big portions out of your day and it leaves you just completely drained, and sometimes it makes you wake up the next day being like, I just can't do it anymore. Depression sucks.
Some of the things we wanted to get done, but we didn't really have time or how to implement was these 2 little images. They're supposed to be like different images for each option, but couldn't figure out how to implement that.
This is the first time I've ever programmed something, so that was really not my program. So it's kind of difficult. So getting the spoon counter itself to work was a big accomplishment for me.
So yeah, it was that. As if we were to like expand this game, we have like not only more days like going a week, but also maybe like specific events which might impact you. Like say, maybe you get like hurt or something, and that would just decrease the amount of energy you have going into that day. you can see how like unexpected things can really hit you much harder when you're suffering from depression. Maybe if you weren't.
I also do want to add, we only did 1 day here, but we have, like basically every session of the day has like a couple different possible events that change up depending on what day of the week it is. And we have specific like weekend only events that happen at the end of the week. But yeah, but we've only played through 1 day.
We thought about maybe having like a recap at the end of the week that would kind of say which aspects of life you did well with or which ones was based on choices.
So, what's the ending?
This is
basically the end.
We did the 1 day.
We only did the 1 day.
Just 1 day and then, okay.
Yeah.
All right, any comments and suggestion, anything? Yes.
Very interesting concept. I really like the idea of, especially that you use like actual psychology and kind of that kind of stuff to make kind of more awareness of it and to give people the opportunity who might have it. Because who knows, if you play this game, it might help them get through that. So I think a very good concept. I think what you guys did accomplish was really well done, especially because you never programmed before. So good job.
Trevor?
I really like the concept. The only thing is, like, if you wanted to take it a step further, I feel like you could probably do some research and give some statistical evidence. Like, if you kind of like the spent game, where like if you pick something like the first choice when it's to eat breakfast or take a shower, you could talk about how typically when people are more depressed, they take long, hot showers and will often like skip out on other morning routines just because that's something they enjoy. So it can give people who don't suffer from depression an insight into like, oh wow, like for me it's so easy to just, hop in the shower for 2 minutes, get what I need to do done, and then have the rest of the morning to do what I need to do. And then, like the meal thing where you're talking about how people who are depressed typically don't have an appetite, but you kind of need to eat. So you could do stuff like that, I think, and that could help make it a PSA game. Not that it has to be, but if you wanted to take it that route.
Okay, one more. Dara, what do you think?
I thought it was really good. You won't feel the more stress that you will feel, the more stress that you're taking in a way to feel how you're dealing with depression. It was really, like was mentioned over there, the insightful details afterwards would be really good because I was thinking, I'm sure you really would research the facts about this, but someone out would be like, look, this is really true. So that might be nice, or it could,
And another thing that I'd like to mention is Slack. Again, it's not like I'm spying on your group, but I try to check like what's going on in your group. So you're not able to see other people's the contents, but I time to time like check on them, and then it's kind of easy for me to see like what happens and team chemistry and that kind of stuff. So again, it's really important for you to document a lot of things. Okay, so hopefully when you have time, you can kind of revisit your group channel and then see what types of conversation happened, and then try to see what would have been better, or you might think like that's like a little thing, but I mean, when it works, when everything's well, it really doesn't matter. But the real problem is when things doesn't go well. When things don't go well, then obviously you have to think about protecting yourself. So instead of oh, I know this person just didn't respond, but you want to make sure kind of keep trying to reach out that person so that you can at least document that. I know like it might be kind of harsh. Yes, you want to trust your team member, but in reality, in like real company situation, well, you happen to put together as a group, but you might not like that person, okay? Or that person might be sometimes not necessarily reliable. Then again, like you really have to think about protecting yourself. And same thing for group project or school work. I mean, because of the nature of group work, a lot of times you are evaluated based upon the group's performance, okay, right? And then sometimes you want to make sure, okay, everything goes well by kind of checking the progress or all this communication on this the Slack or communication channel. All right. Ooh. Okay, so I want you to go to unit number 4. And then there is level design with different scenes, 2D space shooter. So I want you to kind of download this and play this game a little bit, and we'll discuss what we already know and what we need to learn. Okay? All right. This is a little 2D space shooter game. So I'm going to play this. And try to understand the structure of this game. So now I am actually title.unity scene and click to start. Then now I have this game. And game over. Okay. And then replay, we'll go back to first scene, so title scene. So look at over here, like title.unity, start, now main scene.unity. When I'm dead, now it's game over.unity and replay. So by looking at this, okay, there are actually 3 scenes. Okay, so a lot of times, because of many different reasons, people want to create different scenes in Unity. So the first scene will be title scene, second scene would be instruction, and third scene would be level 1, and fourth scene would be level 2, 3, 4, and then at the end you could have multiple scenes. Okay? And then you can actually connect them using the script. Okay? So again, there is title scene, main scene, and game over scenes. Okay? So here, I want you to go to File. Okay? If you go to Build Settings, okay, now you can see these different scenes in Unity.
So there's a scenes title, scenes main scenes, scenes game over scenes, and 0, 1, 2. So you can actually use that numeric value to identify each scenes. So basically the logic is whenever button is clicked, go to or load scene number 0, scene number 1, and scene number 2. Okay? So I want you to understand if game is more complicated, a lot of times the reason why people create multiple scenes is because of the file size. Okay? If file size is too big at the beginning, it takes a long time to be loaded. So sometimes people want to be a little more efficient by breaking the game into many different scenes. So that, well, sometimes it's annoying actually, because after one scene, you might have that little lagging because the next scene need to be loaded. Okay? So some people believe, oh, no, I don't want to make a scene. I'm going to just create 150 megabyte game. And then once it gets loaded at the beginning, there's not going to be any more loading time. Okay? So some people actually prefer that way. Or some people actually want to, 150 megabyte, it might be too long. It might take too long to be loaded. So instead of one 150 megabyte file, I'm going to make 10 scenes, 10 of 15 megabyte scenes. But then, again, pro would be at the beginning, you will click to start and then you can play the game. But when you load the second scene, it needs a little time, okay, to load your second scene. Okay. And then another different thing is, okay, here I use it, okay, different thing here, canvas. Okay. So up until now, we talked about GUI, okay, graphical user interface, and controlling those things inside of the script. But from now, we are going to use UI. Okay, if you go to game object, there is UI. So we are going to use UI in Unity. Okay. Well, honestly, it's better to use UI, but I mean, it's kind of hard to say whether it's better or not because they do something similar, but UI actually will give you more attributes so that you can customize your button a little better. But downside is you actually have to use more script. Okay? So, but now it's a little more popular in game development because again, like you can customize your buttons and or any UI element, okay, using this UI. Okay. Anyways, that's something we're going to talk about soon. And if you look at the main scene, so this is a game, and let's try to think about what we know, what we already know, okay, to create this game. Let's talk about this. What do we know so far? Seth?
You have some collision units.
Okay.
That collide with one another.
Okay, we know collision. So, or usually in game development, we say like either proximity test or collision test. So basically, we know we have an ability to detect that collision to do something, right? And what else? What else do we know? Anybody?
Destroy an object.
What?
Destroy an object.
Okay, destroy an object. And Stefan?
Enemies are coming from the screen. Are they falling?
Are
they like making them fall?
Yeah. So it's kind of similar to that catch game, right? We still control that spaceship, something falling down. Okay. And what else? Maybe we know, yes, Matthew? No? Okay. maybe we know some little bit of scoring system whenever it gets destroyed. And that's something we did in 2D Pong and Breakout. And now let's talk about what we do not know, what we haven't talked about in this class yet. Anybody? What? Loading a new scene, yes. We haven't talked about that yet. And what else? There's a little bit of animation. So now, when you move your spaceship forward, it will give you that little flame. Okay. And sound-wise, we kind of talked about the play one shot in Breakout, so we already know. So literally, if we kind of get to know how to create that simple animation and how to connect different scenes, you should be able to reproduce this game. Okay? So 2 things really quick today. I'm going to talk about how to use that simple UI button, and then I'm going to talk about a little bit of animation. All right. So first thing first, let me go to title scene. Okay, space shooter and start. Okay. So this is a UI button. And whenever it's clicked, we want to go to different place. Okay. So now let's try to take a look at this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go to Unity Hub and create new. For now, it could be 2D space shooter and desktop. Okay, create. So let's try to kind of mimic what we have in this example game and create the different one. Okay. Okay, so this is my new project. So I'll try to kind of mimic what we have, or what we have here. Okay. So first thing first, I might want to have some background image. Okay. So here, this one's like a image in UI. Okay. So let's try to look at how we can do that. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab an image, let's say space, or I'm going to get one of these images. Okay. And few tip, you can use space retro or space 8-bit to get kind of pixel images, pixel art. Okay. You can get all these different images. Okay. And this one looks nice. Oops. Oh, these are all video clips. And okay, I'm going to get this one. No, okay. So now I'm going to create folder sprite and then put this background image here. Okay. So here, I mean, you can actually do this. Okay. This is one thing you can do. Okay. Now it's introduced as just regular game object with sprite renderer. Okay. That's one way to do it. Okay. And now let's try to look at different way to do it. Okay. you can go to game object, and you can make it as UI. Okay. So UI, text, and image. We're going to eventually use the button, but you can actually use UI image. Okay. And then here, in the UI image, there's image script and source image. You can bring this one right over here. Okay. And then basically what's going to happen is this guy will be embedded in UI image. Okay. And I'm going to explain the difference between using the UI image and regular sprite renderer in a moment. But here now, you can actually control it. Okay, position, you can put like 0, 0, and then width and height, you can control it like maybe something like this. Okay, something like this. Okay, and I can go back to main camera. Okay, so here, the main difference between UI element and sprite is something like this. Okay, so now when you look at the scene, okay, this is my image, right? But when I go to my game, okay, actually this is what I see. Okay. So advantage of using UI canvas is canvas creates a separate layer. Okay, the layer on the top of your game. Okay, so basically, whenever you change, okay, your display setting, okay, it has an ability, okay, to display your image text button like scalable, depending on the device or different screen size. Okay. So again, that is why when I go to scene, okay, I cannot even see my image here, okay, because it now actually embedded on this separate layer. Okay. But when you go to game, it actually embedded as a center. Okay. So again, advantage of using canvas is a separate layer, okay, from your game. So it's independent to your game. So once you create a canvas element, you can easily scale this to different devices. But here, if I I'll turn this off, okay, and then put this one as just sprite renderer, okay, and now game, I can possibly just change it to different aspect ratio, and it's always like it's in the same and fixed, okay, but when you bring this one again, it has an ability to change the attribute a little easier, okay, to do this. Anyways, that's one thing. And now, let's talk about this button really quick. So here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a button. Okay. Game object, UI, button. Okay. So now again, this button is embedded, okay, on the top of this separate layer. Okay. Okay. This is UI button. And then if you open it, there's button and text. So text, as a default, it says button, but I can change this to like a play. Okay. And then this one, I'm going to center this. So 0 and 0. Or maybe down here. So I'm going to put position Y as negative, well actually 150 or negative 150 or something like this. Okay. And then when you play that, you will see that button right over here. Okay. And now when you click on it, you can see how it responds to user click. Okay? It phases in and out a little bit. I mean, not entirely, but you can see that it responds to people's click. Okay? And yes, yes. So here, if you look at here, now there's button, and there's target graphics, normal color, highlighted color, pressed color, selected color. So you can actually change it. So you can customize it a little better than GUI. Okay? And then disadvantage of GUI is if you change one GUI button, that overrides everything for GUI button. But here they're independent, so you can actually choose button and button 1, 2, 3, and you can customize each button differently. Okay. And now let's actually think about how to go to different scene. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to save this first. Okay. So save, and then I'm going to create a new scene. Okay. So new scene. And then this one, let's say this one is the real game. So for now, just to see this, I'm going to put it here, something like this. Okay. So this is the real game. So I'm going to save this. Okay. Save scene. And this one probably I'll say main scene or main, just main. Okay. And then put this one inside of my scenes folder. Okay. And so now, when I go to scenes, there is main and sample scenes. Maybe I should rename it as title. Okay. Title and main. Okay. So this is title, and this is main. Okay. So now, I'll go back to title. Okay. Because I have this button. Okay. Now I have to add that interactivity. Okay. So there's many different ways to do this, but let's do the easiest way to do for now. So this one actually has a manager. Okay. This one's an example file, manager, and this one has next level script. Okay. Next level script is something fairly simple. Okay. It will say, okay, start game, scene manager, low scene, number 1. Okay, fairly simple. So let's kind of look at how we can do this. Okay, so I'm going to mimic this. Okay, so here you can possibly create one more game object or not. I mean, it's totally up to you. Or you basically what we need to do is, in order to add this interactivity to button, okay, what we're going to do is, if you select button under inspector window, you will see this one right over here, on click and list empty. So basically we are going to add that script. So whenever people click on it, we basically execute that particular function. Okay? And then one not so nice thing is you cannot add your script to your button directly. Okay? It doesn't recognize that way. So we have to add that script somewhere in our game. It could be main camera, okay? Or sometimes people actually create an empty game object. It could be game manager or whatever. Okay? Okay. I'll just put it as manager. And then here, I'm going to add one script. Oh, never mind. Just a new script. And then I'll say this is start game. Or I'll say start button actually. Start BTN, create an ad. So this is what we have now. Okay. And now, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this simple stuff. Okay. Basically, I'm going to use this guy names a scene manager in Unity. So you can actually find reference. Okay. Unity scene manager. And then you'll get this. Okay. Or, so here, you will be able to see how you can load scenes. Especially we want to use this load scene. Okay, if you click on it, you'll be able to see some examples. Okay. So now, okay, let's see how we can implement this. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make one thing like void start game. Okay. Whenever this guy gets executed, I want to use something like this. Scene manager.load scene. Okay. So this one, I'll make it simple for now, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to put like a 1 for now. And now, somehow, Unity is complaining. I try to use this scene manager, but Unity is complaining that Unity doesn't know what this guy is. So Anthony, what do I have to do?
I forgot, but at top you should add using
That's right. So scene manager now actually is in different packet, okay, which is this one over here. So you have to copy this using Unity engine dot scene management. Okay. So once you put that in, now scene manager is recognized by Unity. Okay. And now I actually use number 1. There is reason why. Okay. So now I'm going to go to build settings. Okay. And then here, scene title. Right? And then it is added as 0. Okay? And then, because this one is the first scene we created. Okay? So now basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to open main scene, and then open build settings, and then I'm going to click add open scenes. Now, scenes main created, and this one is number 1. You can actually use the number, use the name, but probably it's easier for you to just use number. So now, once you register this main scene, now main scene is 1. So whenever you say load scene number 1, it will load this main scene. Okay. So now, I'm going to go back to title. Okay. And then here, start button, okay, scene manager and load scene 1. Okay. Now, the last thing, I want to connect that thing to my button. So I'm going to go to my button, okay, and here, there's on click, list is empty. I'm going to click this plus sign, and then now there's runtime only, it really doesn't matter. And then there's non-object, right? So now, we actually have to add something, okay? So there's a lot of things we can add. What should we add? You basically go to scene, okay? We want to add game object. that contains that script, which is manager game object here. So manager game object. So this is a little tricky because you cannot directly add that script into the button. We actually have to have a game object that contains that script. You actually have to add that game object to the button. Okay? So now it's added. Now if you click this one, it said no function, but now if you open it, you can see that game object transform start button. Okay. And you can find, okay, what did I name? Okay, start game. And then actually my mistake, I think I didn't save it. So save it. Okay. And then, okay, here you'll be able to find that particular, okay. Okay, particular, actually, none. Okay. So I'll do it again. I'll show you it again. So click plus sign, okay. And then in the scene, okay, we have, so here, I'll try to actually do this. Start button. And here, so as you can see, if you directly connect this script, you're not able to actually bring that function. Okay? So that's why you have to bring that manager. Okay, manager. Now manager has this start button function. So now you go to this start button script, you will be able to find that function. Where is it? Start. Okay. Start button, start game is saved. Oh, actually, start game, it actually, I got a little warning, so I'll actually change it to play game or play button. Okay. Start button, start update. I really don't need this. Oh, why? Okay. Somehow it doesn't work. Okay. I think the issue is because I am actually recording this, my CPU is kind of like lagging. So I'm going to stop this.